Get run over.
On the brighter side, you do have some catch plus A ult. You have Clockwork, right? You have Tiny. There's some upsides, but then again, even it's not even the best Fog game. You're Void, you can just out. You're playing versus Dark Willow, who realms away, and you're playing versus Snapfire, who cookies.
For them. Clockwork and Tiny.
Good lane. Going to be watching the series from Bait and Gambit. You can't not favor Gambit. However, at the same time, you have Riki Medusa on your team. Those supports are going to be like super exhausted carrying them through that early to mid game, because these heroes, they don't do anything early on, and if Riki doesn't have a good laning stage, which usually he does not, who's going to be that playmaker on their side?
And they've got an Ancient Apparition too. So it's Clockwork and Tiny are going to have to put in overtime to be able to make that sort of 15 to 20 minute mark look okay for them and not just get run over.
On the brighter side, you do have some catch plus A ult. You have Clockwork, right? You have Tiny. There's some upsides, but then again, even it's not even the best Fog game. You're Void, he can just bow. You're playing versus Dark Willow, who realms away, and you're playing versus Snapfire, who cookies people away, you know?
Yes.
So there's multiple spells to get rid of that Clockwork without force.
Yeah, I would not be super excited playing Clockwork. Nice toss there from Vampire. DotaBuff can get enough body blocking here to actually bring down Ghost. I kind of doubt he does level up his Q. He's given a cookie as well, so that amount of mobility will allow him to survive. But okay, he's actually blocked up by LeBron a little bit. If they can get another toss, they have a toss actually coming up. He's going to toss Riki onto Ghosting. Ghosting hits them with the backstab, and what was that? I thought he was home free.
Well, LeBron gave him a cookie, and then he was like, baited.
Well, that is going to be your first blood for Gambit. They do manage to get 3 different bounty rooms. So, where do you lie on that, Lizard? Are you a fan of, would you rather take the 3 bounties or the first blood?
Depends on what hero gets that first blood. Give that first blood to a hero such as Riki, it can be very valuable. Very strong.
Another toss back, but this time Ghosting actually wants to be able to fight. He hits him with the nuke. The cookie's going to land him right on top of FNG. And that'll be enough to get the kill. Now the question is whether or not Ghosting can get out. And of course he will, because Dream, he doesn't want to trade that much anyway. And then on top of that, he's got a creep wave.
Alright, so we will have a tri-lane on tri-lane action. Like at least, unless AA rotates away. On this top lane shuttle versus Void Spirit, I don't think Void Spirit is ever truly threatened on that lane. No. Clockwork, he can do fine, but he can't really pressure Void.
Well, Kyle said this matchup actually really good for the Medusa, and I think he's right. Eventually the Mystic Snake will allow you to be able to beat the Viper, but initially, Dendy really taking it to FN doesn't have that up just yet.
Dropping low here. One of the reasons why this hero is such a the HP to get on top of blow him up. They have enough control bottom lane to do so.
Yeah, it feels like the Rikis that were always being picked up, they got the luxury of just very passive off lanes, not a whole lot of pressure, but B8, they just started off with a tri-lane. They still have a very aggressive dual lane in both Legionnaire and Dark Willow.
They did give him a first blood as well. So this Riki started off with the blast. Also, he's farming 7 CS right now. He's doing all right.
Arn tossed over, but does pick up his level 2. Pull up traction. Fine. These tosses are I think going to. I don't think he really has much of an opening anymore unless Ghostic is like quite low. But if he's like high HP, FN in mid lane once again, Dendy really taking it to him, just burning out his mana pool at this point in time to try and pressure that Medusa into dying. Nice body blocking here, trying to catch the King R. The Shadow Realm fades away. They're still going to try and go for the kill. The toss doesn't actually land on a King R, but they still, with the creep and the blink strike, Dream.
A lot of mobility. Riki has been reversed early on, and they put that into use there. Not many times do I agree with Kyle when it comes to some of his calls about the lanes, and this lane might not go great for FN, but he can go into the jungle and recover, so still don't.
Kyle is he finds a way, you see.
It's a talent. nice attempt attacking it, but a bit late.
Have actually blocked up. He's going to be able to hit the avalanche, toss back onto the Viper, and this will turn the fate of the mid lane. Dendi being ganked up by both supports.
And this is the moment in which Kyle runs up here, you know, and just back.
Meanwhile, top lane, Shachlo, he's actually done really well, and yes, he was tied up with the Void until all of a sudden, old Cookie Grandma shows up, and Shachlo, that's a lot of damage, man.
Did they get him?
The slows and the Cookie, Shachlo will actually barely limp away, but he doesn't have a healing salve, so he's probably just going to have to either go back to base or, oh, tempted a Cookie, another kill, but Shachlo does dodge that creep forward.
Good joke from him, also pretty good attempt by LeBron. I didn't see that one coming. He attempted that stun into his first spell. Sadly, it doesn't really work out, and that's for him.
I just didn't expect the cooldown to be up so quick. That's not happening. It's like you can always get off 2 or 3 of them in a fight.
One of the reasons why that hero is so scary in the lane. Slows your attacks, slows you, has such a massive strength game, being a strength hero as well.
The mana cost, both the cooldowns and mana costs are not prohibitive enough that you can always fight into the enemy. King R. The courier on it. Dream's courier. Kill. Dream, though, thanks to all his Wraith Bands, is significantly tankier and much harder to kill. He's going to jump on a King R here. The Avalanche comes up. Unfortunately, Shadow Realm protects him, and he will actually turn that damage on a Vampire. He runs into a Brambles and finished off by the nuke of Ghostic, and Dream, who tried to aim the King R, wasn't able to get that kill. Forced to jump away from this Legion.
I think this lane started the best way it could for Gambit. With that first blood on Riki, I told you that some heroes that first blood is really valuable, and he put good use. Those 2 Wraith Bands allow him a little bit more aggressive on squishy heroes such as Dark Willow.
Shachlo making a little play around the world. Around the world. He goes. Cookie is going to slow him down, but he's just kind of dangerous. All he wants is level 6, and we'll rotate around. Base, greedy cores. We were talking about it during the draft phase. It feels like if Dream has a good lane, and he could absolutely dominate his lane. It's a very scary early diffusal play for Riki.
I think it's a really good diffusal too. That Fury build, especially having Medusa with you.
Oh yeah. None of that. Dendi once again tossed into the tier tower in mid. Another 2-man support team.
They dip in, and I would as well, because when you're playing with the Vipers, with a hero that's as static as a Viper, or that Dragonite, they played around Dragonite really well. They rotate around him, they pressure that Queen of Pain, but in this game, they're not doing the same around his Viper. If he's winning his lane, you should help him continuously push into it and continuously pressure this Medusa, but he tries to do it alone, and because of that, gets ganked.
Yeah, it's like one of the downsides of having very strong side lane dual lanes like this is that the supports just don't want to rotate out. You know, Dark Willow's like, I really want to stay with my Legion Commander. We're kind of controlling the lane against him really nicely. You could see Ghostic being the big beneficiary of that. Is actually 350 gold net worth up on Riki right now. So his presence is paying off, but it's a losing dent his part of the game.
It's always like that. You have to decide where you put your pressure. It can't be on all 3 lanes at the same time. Some lanes you have to do.
Yeah, and anytime he's left solo, Gambit is always there to be able to punish, and this time it's Ghostic in the bottom lane, tries to go for the courier kill, and both of the couriers survive!
He tried, he hit, and they're the same. They're right next to each other, so he right-clicks 2 different couriers and they survive. This is a kill. They have damage.
They're going to try for it here with Pio joining them, slowing him down with the time dilation. Looks under attack. Bad.
With Pio being there, definitely. They didn't even have Chrono. There's a tier 1 nearby, but no one wants to save the Clockwork. I've seen this build on Clockwork so many times now. They don't build food for anything. Just go for bracers, man. For Clockwork is the method.
Yeah, stat up. considering the amount of time that you're able to stay on top of somebody, thanks to the battery salt, your physical damage being amped up is real. Clockwork has long been part of his problem, right? Especially as a core, you go in, you die, trade out for a kill. Well,
I agree.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about that?
You know, I never would have considered Refresher good on a Clockwork before, but it's not the most terrible thing. It just bothers me that you stun yourself.
Yeah, that's not quite bad. What I really like about it is it gives you multiple disables when you get on top of a target.
Yeah.
You have this long range disable early on, but your teammates struggle to follow up. Now if you can refresh it once again.
I'm not sure why they're leaving Ghostic alone in this bottom lane. Like, Riki is a very dangerous hero if he has the numbers advantage, because he just outputs so much damage. So if you have to run away from him, then he's just gonna do so much. Right? Legion Commander's the opposite. She wants to turn and fight at all times, but she can't fight against superior numbers. Like,
you have to ask yourself, what are they doing on other lanes that's significant enough for them to leave that Legion to suffer on the
Yeah.
And I would argue, so far, besides killing that Clockwork on the top lane, they haven't done enough to justify it.
No, certainly not. I mean, at this point in time, Pio, he could just, you know, jungle it up. They dropped an Iron Talon, and he's got double gloves. They don't really need to be in that top lane too much.
They don't need to support him at all.
Yeah.
At all. He can lane versus anyone that comes on that lane, and also he cannot die. He literally be dying in this game unless he does something.
So once Ghostic was actually quite ahead of Dream, now it's dying again, but this time it's actually a bait. This time, bait is actually set up for it, but it looks like Gambit may have gotten the read for it. They smoked all the way down to this bottom lane. Vampire thought about wrapping around and going for the toss, but
yeah, they've been AFK forever. Clockwork even took top outpost on his own. No one contested him taking that outpost, so they understand, yo guys, something's happening. Like, they're not farming, they're not on the lanes.
Well, it looks like Vampire is still gonna get caught here, but the important carry of Riki is still going to survive through this gank, and I'm not sure how much pressure Bait's going to be able to put on that tower. Dream's already on the other side of the map.
He ever loves it. Every time they get any kills, any good moves, there's
I mean, at this point in time, I'm kind of cheering for him too, just because I want to see at least one win from Bait here in Kiev. It looks like they will be able to find Ghostic here. Gambit quickly killing him as kind of treaded off, alone into the jungle, and by Clockwork. I don't know, man, Lizard, these moves just so awkward.
Bait, it looks more difficult to make any moves without committing a ultimate. For those big ultimates, Chrono is not enough. Snapfire, they need LeBron to get that.
Yeah, this is not a time to be too sacrificial. Looks like the chain's done onto the Void, not quite enough. Plus the Terrorize going in is going to be able to control up the Clockwork a bit. It's going to get stunned. They do have the Bedlam doing some decent amount of damage. It looks like he will end up falling here. The ultimate comes out from the Ancient Apparition. That's enough to turn around and get a kill onto King R, but
Gambit, they go in, they fail their spells, they fail their attempt to kill Void, and they still make a decent trade. Not great for them, but...
Well, especially as they're able to get another exit kill, this time on the LeBron, but the duel comes out on Exit Vampire, and maybe it's not a duel that they can win, but they'll probably get the kill.
That's a little bit better for Bait. Teams are starting to move, at least, but no, Medusa isn't moving. Farming away. Lane goes for Riki.
Neo can't get too far away from the Riki. That's why he's to turn around. And Chronosphere goes for the kill on FNG. Might be able to get it. In fact, he does. But can he actually get out? With the help of Ghost, he certainly can. Press the attack, removes the cold feet that was on him, and allows him to feel healthy enough that he doesn't have to run away from the Riki.
Shotgun is there, but he's thinking about it. But A is dead. He doesn't have a follow-up. Most likely he will. At least not until A is up.
9-7,
I don't know, man, like, panel, they talked about Viper's problems, and so far, they've been obvious. He had a decent laning stage, but after that, he's still static. He hasn't moved from that mid lane. He's waiting for his force staff, but Will that be too late? Medusa is farming away. You need to start pressuring them. You need to start taking map objectives, map control.
Definitely feels like Gambit kind of outplayed Bait in the lane, where like they should have lost the laning phase, but so many successful rotations from these two supports allowed them to basically walk away easy.
Completely. On that bottom lane, first and foremost, they brought forces, which is so important. They had 3 heroes there, multiple times in a row, take down Legion Commander, and every time Legion Commander was left alone, they would kill her. Same goes for Viper mid. He was dominating the Medusa, the FN Medusa. It wasn't enough. Every single rotation on him worked.
Smoke up. See Ghost Stick. And they also see the Nether Tox on the ground. So no 2 cores are here farming. So they opt out of this. Back towards that. I'm a bit surprised they didn't try and stick around there and halfway through the aim. Or at least somebody just sit up there and soak some.
It's a little bit difficult to move on to the high ground, but
trying to burst down real quick, pushed out of the smoke screen, not quite. They do manage to get that kill, and that's a dominating streak for Dream, which pretty much finishes up his diffuser blade, by the way. And we, again, mentioned how scary that is early on.
And they got the best kill they could, the Void kill. Like that's the hero that you want to be killing right now.
Yep.
And there was even one mistake from Shackle there, you noticed it, he pushed him away, and keeping him in the cogs is probably better because there's smoke on top of you, but they
force that forward and a cookie to be able to get away from the toss that was threatened by accident.
Gambit is in complete control. Something has to change if Bait wants to take this game. They need to start making rotations. Their supports have not used their ultimates yet. I have seen maybe one Terrorize. Snapfire has not used his ultimate.
That was just kind of constant. They're going to get a pick off on King R here, as well as a kill on to Granny. And Bait are just kind of left, sand in their hands, drifting through their fingers, trying to catch something, anything. They do manage to grab Dream here, but can they actually kill him fast enough? He managed to get off the Cloak and Dagger, survives, ghosting very low. Dream jumps to the low ground with the Blink Strike, and will not survive, actually. The poison damage is good enough. Exodus Vampire with TP away, spotted by Keo, but not fast enough to be able to get.
That was a great kill for them. They killed that playmaker Riki. It's super important. At the same time, they used all 3 cores to get that. Medusa is still outfiring them quite heavily. You can Network is already ahead.
It's so weird to me that EA just never seemed to be able to take GH on a fight, dealing with like this smoke gank like this, but when they do smoke up, they oftentimes are left with a kill that's not that valuable.
It's pretty much FNG.
Fine. Well, at least that kill will turn into them controlling this mid area, taking down the mid tower. Very important.
They're taking mid, at the same time Gambit, they're farming away on putting the
They start backing up. They do have LeBron in the back line. Shacho, quick little play there. He conked himself in and then realized he didn't have the time to get out of those cogs, so he hook-shotted outside of the cogs to be able to get away from the Snapfire ult.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Snapfire ult right now has a much longer cooldown, I believe, as well. Yeah, Clockwork's ulti has been reworked a little bit, so you don't need that axe for the cooldown reduction anymore. And you're free to spend it a little bit.
Yeah, especially as a core Clockwork. Once you get into those later levels, level 2,
It's 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah, it goes. I think it goes from like 70, like 50, 30 or something. It decreases the cooldown.
50, 45, 30. Yeah, close. 30 seconds.
12-9, a slight lead for Gambit right now.
I love the build, by the way, of the Void. You can see a lot of Twitch chatters blaming the gloves, 2 gloves, Y, and power threats. But right now, they're the most valuable item for your buck. Pay 400 gold for 20 attacks. If you get 3, you have, what, 1200 gold used for 60 attack speed. And you get less attack speed for a hyper. That's 2000.
So it's kind of like the same Chrysalis everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just for the gold that it costs. too efficient
It's
of
too
an item.
exactly. Especially when you're playing a hero such as Void that really benefits from that attack speed. The more times he hits you, the more chances he's going to proc with dash.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Just as long as you don't overinvest.
Yeah.
Remember watching 3 gloves?
I was passing that. He won the game though. He won it.
He did win the game, but I'm not sure if it was really him. Felt like that game was over by the time he got his rating.
He likes to overdo it.
Limit. Alright, well. Diffusal blade on both the cores, both safe laners are ready to fight. The difference is Bait, they have a Viper mid. Gambit have a Medusa, so this lower pace is better for them, and it's still Gambit who are the ones trying to make some moves. Now, this move actually fails as the Shadow Realm goes off fast enough, but it'll fade eventually, and this hasted up Excess Vampire will be able to bring down King R. Probably going to lose his life forward as time dilation will slow him down to a crawl. Successful duel, first one of the game, I believe, for Ghosted.
Yeah, because they don't manage to use that combo properly.
Not coming in. They do have a Faceless Void who might be able to get here, so they've got to back off. Commit for that kill.
One big flaw of Bait's draft that I really see is synergy between just not there. If you look at Gambit, any single pair of these heroes can work together to find a kill. Your A Cock, A Tiny, your A plus Diffusal on Riki, you can find stuff, you can make plays. On the side of Bait, Dark Willow brings you the damage, but what brings you the control? The Legion? It's not good enough. I guess you have Void plus Viper and Snapfire's ulti, but so far it's been not utilized at all.
Yeah, it seems like outside of draft, they're also oftentimes outplayed in movement, right? It really seems like FNC is a strong read of where Bait is at all times. He's kind of placing himself as the potential fodder. Oh, the cookie actually stunning Excess Vampire right as he blinked in. What a disaster. He thought he was going to be able to get a toss backwards. Instead, he dies for free. No cost to Bait. Now, thinking maybe push here in the mid. After all, they still have the Chronosphere. Ghostic being gone on, but the Force Staff gets him out of the smoke screen. Hookshot on him as well. Now, Cox push as well. Terrorize does manage to land onto the Riki, but it's going to be Ghostic potentially dying here. In fact, he does. A little bit too much damage. Dodge up the TP out. Actually does survive. And maybe FNG. Oh, Void actually shows up. Immediately he's inside the smoke screen. They do have a cookie to be able to get him out of that one. Pio, I think he was looking for it. Now he does manage to get the Chronosphere, catching that Riki, as well as setting up for a lot of damage on the Medusa. FN trying to get off his ultimate. Pio, he's committed too much though. It's going to get chain stunned down by the Tiny. They do manage to kill the Medusa, yes, but it felt like Pio wasn't really needed to be that far forward after the Chrono expired.
He came a little bit too late to the party, but he used that Chrono really well. Caught 2 crores off Gambit, Medusa and Riki both fall, and now Vampire. He does have a ulti behind him right now, so if he finds a pick-off, he will be able to take it down. A Ghost Stick is a hard nut to crack. Maybe
King R, he's going to be a lot easier. In fact, he doesn't even need the blast.
It is flying over, though. You can see that he did stand it, but it won't matter.
Spotted Vampire. Braun comes up into the high ground. Excess Vampire knew that was coming. He doubles back. Juke and tip. What I like to see.
His build is also really peculiar on the Tiny. He goes Blink Dagger, which is very standard, but he's turning E-Blade, Legion versus Void. Most of their damage is also physical in that Chrono, besides the Snapfire, right? So,
That's an E-Blade. Alright, TJ.
Maybe it's
really value. Maybe later on to the game.
Maybe it's a bit too expensive early.
Yeah. I mean, spending upwards over 4K gold to be able to give somebody ethereal form rarely is a bit much, so Force Staff might be manageable. Empire. I'm still concerned that Bait haven't, like, maybe I shouldn't be. They do have this really sick team fight combination going into. Yeah, I'm just a bit concerned that they're not picking up anymore.
Whenever you see a into, I think that's faster you have to.
Yeah. Not going to be hit by the Ice Blast. They have so many ways to be able to counteract both Cogs and Smokescreen with multiple Force Staffs, as well as Cookie.
One hero that really surprised us that last game, I mean, missing out was Dragonite. Dandy played.
Yeah.
And this game around as well, Viper is very static, is super slimy, not really flashy kind of a hero that just irritates you in the laning stage, but later on in the game can be quite fearsome too when it comes to the damage part.
Yeah, he does scale pretty well into the late game. Doesn't he have a damage count? 20?
What matters is he has another
90
toxin.
damage.
Yeah, and another toxin silences talent as well is pretty damn sick. I think one of the best talent trees in the game. Viper if he managed to get to all the levels.
Yeah. Are they going to go triangle or are they going to go spawn? They're going to go and get the vision on David. Gambit actually pushed down for the triangle for the worst in the background. Exit and focus placed away. Look at Avalanche cover their tracks and they do successfully. How's the high ground where they know they cannot pursue this, especially again.
The way they itemized as well on the side of bait, you don't dagger on Legion. 5 kill. Because of that, they don't really have any form of initiation besides that void. And when you see clock and you're tempted to use your chrono, but you don't really want to. You aren't killing.
Well, 3 bracers, Voter Defiance, and an Essence Ring. Before he goes into a fight, if he pops that Essence Ring,
is under attack.
Extremely tanky. It's for a very good target, but first he needs to actually hit the hook shot and misses it here.
It happens. Not really the hardest kill shot to land.
He's pushing forward with no team behind him. He does have a Force Staff though. Now the Cookie is close enough, but Exodus Vampire's going to stay on top of him. Yulsef, they're actually stopping this. He tossed away. Dendi hits the round, knowing that Exodus Vampire is a little bit too far forward. Now they catch him. Pio looking for more. Walks forward, Chronosphere out, but the Showgate's already gone off. So Pio can't really do a whole lot. There is going to be that damage coming out from Granny, but now he's stuck inside the smoke screen. He activates his BKB, time walks, but Dream still managed to get the kill. B8 have to now back off without their big damage dealer. They threw everything they had to be able to do half damage to a Medusa. Dream now activating his BKB. He's going to be tooled up, but the BKB being activated by Riki means that he's not that quickly. So he has to run away as the dual fade. Done onto shot flow. The Cookie gets him out of that net. Ghost Stick's gonna be okay, but Gambit certainly happy with that fight. A Chronosphere expended, and you could say that Gambit won the fight.
They did. They lost 2 supports, but they won the fight. They killed the tower was good, but they killed the void. They forced his BKB. They wasted his chrono. He did have an arcane rune still active, I believe, when he used it. So the cooldown will be a little bit shorter, but overall they just got done. I think the whole side of bait tunnel visioned a little bit. It should be happening, and this is a high-level tournament. You're playing for a lot of money. You shouldn't be tunnel visioning like that if your Viper is about to survive. You already have the target.
Jump forward. They do have this tiny combination with that AA blast to be able to finish off the Viper, and now the Clumsy Nut being popped by Dream to slow down Ghost Stick's retreat as well. LeBron's here, though. He coming in from the Dark Willow. He immediately drops an Observer Ward to see if grab somebody who's too close to the tier 2. Sadly, that's not the case because Gambit, they always seem a bit more disciplined. They chase and they actually connect with these kills and don't overextend, whereas we saw from that last one, they overextended on Pio, paid the ultimate price, and now they're gonna have to buy back on Dendi. Then this Roshan attempt. Gambit, Pio, charging forward, activates his BKB, he's gonna be hooked on up, takes so much damage, terrorized, not gonna be able to save him. He takes way too much from a Riki. Dream is a beast right now. Popping heroes left and right, nice. Exodus Vampire, force-staffing through, managed to get the toss back on the Ghost Stick. Dream, he's gonna be able to jump into the high ground as he retreats. Still a little bit cautious here. Doesn't want to feed into the Viper too much. There's also a buyback available for Pio.
This is peaceful right now, not to buy back the void at least. I guess they're gonna just step the first on instead and try to play against that Aegis because there is no reasoning behind it. Buy back the void, you might win the fight, you might not, but you are putting yourself so far behind the Medusa and the Riki that you most likely will never come.
It's It's a little bit of sunk cost fallacy, right? Where it's like, well, we've already invested 2 buybacks. We have to defend. Well, that's a fast way to throw the game. So they take their losses, they lick their wounds, retreat to their side of the map, and continue to farm. But FN is still the biggest beast in the game. He's got 17,000 net worth, and this is what we were talking about, being the one side having a Medusa and the other side too slow or failing to connect when they do play aggressive.
Yeah, they just have to start using their items and their spells. That's pretty much what it is.
Just click the button.
Click the button. You jump in, but you don't use anything. You die.
King Arm shows up, but superior vision from a lot of these areas they're playing. There. Spot the Dark Will and get a kill for to enough confidence.
I love that you just mentioned superior vision, and that's because of the way FNG is playing for the whole tournament. This guy just doesn't care if he's Furion, if he's AA. He moves super deep behind enemy lines, plants these good wards, and then it's easier to play when you see them coming.
Says Vampire, they have a high ground ward. So while FN can be left alone because he's got an Aegis, the Medusa, the top lane is pushing in, and they were hoping somebody from base would show them stuff top and get picked off, and then that would lead into an with them. Base is not inside their base at all.
Yeah, but this still looks easy, right? You have Medusa pushing in, you just need to stand around her, and that's it. He has that Aegis to work with. Repositioning tools from base are very low and lacking. FN should be able to take down this tower. Just stand here and hit it. This feels so bad if you're dire.
And bait, like, we've seen them in this situation before. I feel like you just gotta push that trying to poke around, goes to it, tries to get an initiation onto the Chinese, still managed to kill him with the Chronosphere onto the Riki as well. They're gonna throw out the Terrorize just to make sure his chain stun wasn't needed, but still wins the fight. Io, hoping to be able to find somebody. Nice, clever hook shot from shot throw onto Muta.
All right, Vampire, all right. We've been praising you for the whole tournament. You're great, you're awesome, but hold your horses. He blinks in, he fails his initial attempt to throw someone out of their base, and then he forces Legion into himself to try and toss her away. And it looked cute, but he tosses the creep instead and gets him and the Riki kills. So, I mean, I respect the attempt. It was really good. It is
Shadow Realm. Cold Feet is gonna be able to stun him, so that teleport away is never going to work. Die. Self-fuels. Fine, but got it. It just was so unnecessary. Remember you were saying, like, well, the Medusa hit the tier 3, force bait to come into you, like, you didn't have to do anything.
They didn't, but that is the usual plan when you're standing behind Medusa, especially when you have this combo, Tiny plus a hero that's a fortress, a hero that's just a tower standing in front and taking Raxes. Tiny's job is to play out of vision behind those trees on the low ground and pounce when anyone approaches him. So that's usually how you break high ground. You can't expect to just stand and hit them, take it down, but this far ahead, you might expect just that.
Yeah, as you can see, FN still working with his first life here, and that melee barracks down to half. Once again, as this Vampire tries that same initiation, fails it on Tendi. The defense force that off. Covenant and FN. Now it's going to be Dream's turn to initiate. The cookie comes out immediately. Hook's not followed up. A Dual Scepter goes down before he can get the Cog. Now he Cogs and force snap through, but Santo's kind of stuck here, especially with LeBron raining down the artillery to be able to catch more damage here. They get the duel in as well. Grouping up, but that's going to be fine. They commit their BKB to make sure they kill X as Vampire time dilation. Slowing down FN, but they have to be careful fighting into that Medusa, especially with the space that's created to allow Dream to pounce just like that. A couple of hits brought Ghosted quite low, so.
They got 2 good kills there, they still do lose the rack. Aegis yet to be reclaimed. There's a little bit more time for FN to play around it. I think if you're Gambit, you're fine with that, but if you're bait, you just notice that you can actually take this. You have the damage necessary. You have to bait them out of position. Use your ultimate when Medusa isn't there to destroy everything with her ultimate.
Dendi once again in that awkward mid-game point where they aren't winning fights anymore. He's just been looking at
that buyback has hurt him. I love his control item though, does work really well with Viper. His build as well is pretty recognized, lacking damage and properly help with that. So far, execution problem for Bait. Not getting easier.
not, especially as the
that lockdown. Theo really loves that MKB. In this particular game, he definitely that Medusa.
yeah, and he's got the 20% talent, 10 talent. He's gonna be tossed back with one lead on him as well. Force that a little farther away with the cookie helping him out, but again, Dream with that basket makes a world of difference. You can always pursue. That's Dendi with a dieback, by the way, dead for 100 seconds. Two members of Bait also gone. LeBron, Ghostic, they're both going to have to buy back here if they hope to be able to defend the two lanes of barracks, because FN, well, he already broke melee in mid, so he might as well just go straight for top.
See his build as well. This crit is literally saying, I want to end right now, boys, let's go. By the way, Riki, what was his level 20 talent? What did he take in the end? Took the casting.
Terrorized. First out on FN. It's going to put him into a weird position where he runs to the mid lane, but they can't really go for him. They certainly can't commit Chronosphere or anything. They don't do anything.
They're just going to lose reaction.
I never see them in these situations. They always try to defend from inside their base. They never try and go for like a smoke around. And as a result, plenty of opportunity for Access Vampire to be tosses back like he does on a King R. King R, fortunately, is able to get away from that Riki. Away from the Riki. Well, gets him out of danger. Tier 4s and FN's just going to keep it going.
There's a tier 1 and a tier 2 on the bottom lane, so they're like, that looks like a lot of effort. I don't want to go all the way.
Well, and he does have a buyback now. He actually has enough gold, so he's finally able to do so. Shotgun goes in the back line. They've gone for all their damage on the Medusa, and they're rewarded with the kill. They're going to be able to get Access Vampire on top of that. Dream, meanwhile, tried to go for the support, but actually got kited well enough. They're not able to get that kill. And the front lines, though, it's Pio with the successful duel helping out Ghostic, getting the kill on Ancient Apparition. 3 dead on the side of Gambit, and Bait didn't lose anything for it. All they had to do was buy back on Dendi.
Massive team fate there. They did lose 2 sides, nothing right. Viper also had to buy back Dendi, so they lost a lot of gold. The question now is, what can you do with this advantage? A team such as Secret, if you remember when they played versus Bait, all they needed was one fight like this one, and they turned the game. Can Bait do this thing? Now they're going into the pit, they're super lucky, Rosh is already up, but buybacks are...
You know, it feels very similar to how last game ended, where Bait, in their darkest hour, have this glimmer of hope, where they're able to go to Roshan, force buybacks out of Gambit. If they win this fight, then all of a sudden, the game is won, and they're going to open with kill on the green. This is massive! He's dead for 80 seconds. They may just be able to force a buyback out of him. In fact, he does.
Exactly what they needed. Now you have a win probability. Now you, if you kill that Riki, if you take him down, perhaps you can even take the game. They needed this. They needed one mistake from Gambit, and they got it.
Now, last time, maybe some of their mistake was continuing to force it immediately in that Roshan pick. Gambit showed up to that fight and won it and just ended the game. This time around, Bait is going to play a little bit smoother and calmer. Okay, you managed to force that buyback. That's great. Taking Roshan against the Clockwork is very difficult.
Smart decision.
Let's not force it.
Especially when you don't have the chrono as well, right? Some of your ultimates are still on cooldown, you don't have duels, so they're just chilling. The only problem is usually when I see Bait chill, they get kicked off somehow, and they just die one by one.
It's also Gambit. They're able to easily commit to Roshan here with FN without too much risk. Medusa inside the pit. Bait, all they want to do right now is just kind of poke, try and slow down this Roshan until that Chronosphere is up, but I have a feeling it's not going to give them enough time.
Too bad. capacity to think about healing it.
They're gonna jump inside now. Pio committing his BKB, but not able to do a whole lot. Immediately has to jump away, gets bashed immediately. Fortunately, forced out of a time walk, gets him off of the high ground, but the BKB being committed. And then just be able to finish this up. Committing to go for the Ancient Apparition. So the smoke coming out to terrorize, not gonna be able to save him. Ancient Apparition lives. They get the Roshan, they get the Aegis for FN, and all they may lose for it. That Pio actually has to time walk away before he can finish off that kill on a shot. So may take out the voice. Nice toss back there from X's Vampire. Getting the kill onto LeBron. There's the Frontier finally up. Gonna go for the kill on Dream. That's gonna be a dieback for him. The Aegis is on the Medusa, so they're just gonna ignore this Medusa and go for everybody else. And then, standing on the front lines, he's gonna be able to create some space, but they have to go back to their base. It's in trouble. The Ancient is at half health right now, just due to the creeps. Bait can't push this fight any longer.
Man, the crowd loves this game, and I completely agree with them because this is what we needed. We needed some stress. We needed this. Yeah.
Enough to stay. He had to back away from creeps, man.
Yeah,
Feels bad.
It's still a very difficult game for them. Oh, he knows. He knows. He's hiding. He's hiding. He's coming up. He understands. Yeah, their throne is super low. Medusa has that Aegis. I believe it was the Aghanim's Rush as well. I wonder who got that. It was Aegis Cheese. Dream is dead, so most likely they will just chill for now. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe
it was just
Cheese, right?
Yeah, I think it was just cheese.
Yeah, in any case, they're gonna chill out, wait for that Riki, but Bait, they have 15 seconds from that Legion to make a move. They can't hide in their base.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
MKB being picked up by Dendy, so now they've got another hero that can reliable damage into that Medusa. Smoke screen mischance, well. To take advantage of this timer, but instead it looks like they're hitting some neutrals. It's not even 40 minutes yet, so they don't even have like a fresh round of neutralizing.
Just chilling, you know, your phone has 40%, so you're not in a rush.
Well, maybe they can rely on Gambit. See, if I'm Gambit, right, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to chill out until my buyback.
That's cool. But the only thing is, by the time your buyback is up on Riki, your Aegis will be gone on Medusa, so it might be a little bit smart to go right now.
He's got Daedalus and could just like push through mid and commit to hitting the Ancient. They do have a glyph on the side of Fate. That is very important. They don't have to push outside of the base to be able to take a fight.
Have to look at Pio and his cooldown on the Chrono.
Oh, that Daedalus doing so much damage. Fortunately, he was able to get away from the avalanche. That could have been really scary. Oh no, he actually got hooked on the right. Where's the kill on FN? He is going to be able to buy back. Meanwhile, they do have a duel onto X's Vampire. Doesn't last for long though, and it's actually Ghosting who may end up dying. They've already killed the Medusa once though, thanks in part to that damage from the Snapfire, and Dendy's MKB putting them serious overtime here. Now they've got the Chronosphere on both the Ancient Apparition and the Medusa. Can they bring down this Medusa? And they can't because Viper just got assassinated by Riki, and Pio left with no backline to be able to help him out with that Chronosphere, and that's just going to be it. Much like to game one. Gambit will close it out, maybe with no buybacks on their side, but they win the last fight. That matters.
They put up a fight. That's all I can say. I think they did all right. Their lineup, their draft just looked a little bit shabby. They had problems moving off of that laning stage and making any sort of an impact over the game. It just looked like it's Gambit. It's Gambit's game to just chill and farm, but they're not doing that. They're making the moves. They're making the plays. They're taking objectives while Medusa is still farming. Usually when you're playing versus a team that has a Medusa, you're supposed to be the one that's pushing.
For a very good target, but first needs to actually hit the hook shot. Misses it here.
It happens. Not really the hardest skill shot.
And he's pushing forward, but